Hi guys, welcome to In Simple Terms. I'm here today with Mr. William Cooper from
Hello.
the Becoming Project. It's a nonprofit that is based in Calipatria, and we're going to talk into some of the things that Calipatria has been facing and struggling with, and how are they moving forward with the whole lithium valley in the county situation. So there's a lot of questions that I have that I want to understand and see your perspective. Um, but I know that your big focus right now is workforce development, especially with Forever Green Farms that's taking off, which congratulations, that's awesome. And so tell me a little bit about what do you see in the whole lithium valley specific plan and the workforce development that is being promised or said that is going to be.
Thank you, Ashley. I'm really glad you bring up workforce development. That is one of the more pressing issues when you hear the residents talk about lithium or the industry talk about lithium. It's always this huge promise of the jobs that'll be connected to the industry, but those jobs are not specified to residents. It's not really specific to you and I. It's more specific to the unions that happen to be inside of the region. What my organization, the Becoming Project, and your organization are doing is more focused on workforce development that comes from the community. We call it the people's workforce development. Forever Green Farms, the upskilling of farm workers and people re-entering into society in solar installation and greenhouse automation and new ag technologies, just is an accumulation of ideals we got from the communities at the North End. They just needed a platform to learn and have an opportunity. And that's what we have created. We need more of that kind of specific thinking if we're going to have long-term workforce development and success in Imperial County.
Yeah, yeah. So giving job opportunity, creating job opportunities for everyone and not just for the ones that continue getting the job opportunities, which are the unions. And so these jobs that the county and the companies are promising and they announce, like, we're going to create thousands of jobs. Um, those are jobs have been already negotiated with a specific union. Those jobs already are gone. So it's not like if you're at home and you're like, oh, lithium is going to bring jobs, maybe I'll have a chance. No, you won't. The other people that would be able to get a job are also some of the people that have been going to IBC and like taking classes or something like that.
Listen, let me see if I can paint you a better picture of the jobs surrounding the Lithium Valley, or in simple terms. The bulk of the jobs that are being promised by both the county and the developer are already promised to the unions that are already inside of this region. In this region, there are about 400 members of the union. So all of the large construction jobs, the electrician jobs, all of those are accounted for. When they're saying there will be construction opportunity, those are mostly the low wage jobs, the cleanup jobs, the jobs that could go to a lower non-skilled worker. What everyone has to understand, that the jobs that are being promised, when you hear thousands and thousands, really about 2,000 jobs during the construction phase, is only going to last 2 years. After that 2 years, maximum that anybody could hope for is 80 permanent jobs. Even those permanent jobs would not be available to the local residents. Those are specialty jobs that they don't train for locally right now. So all of that work will be outsourced. And the only thing that will be left to benefit community is what they call the associated or hanger-on jobs, the uptick in transportation service, the uptick in the restaurant service, but that only adds additional 3 to 6 jobs. I mean, not 3 to 600, just 3 to 6 people. So I don't know how that was supposed to move your unemployment needle.
Yeah.
That's one aspect of it.
What about the promise that the county is saying that they are going to give 40% of the employment opportunities to locals? What does that mean? And what do you think about that? Like, is 40% enough? Is it too little? What do you think?
That's a fair question. When you hear the county say that 40% of the lithium jobs are guaranteed to locals, I want everyone to remember that the union workers are also considered locals. So don't think they're talking about you as a resident or the average person when the county is referring to locals. They're actually referring to local union members. So yes, it will be 40% of those jobs available to local union members. Other
And
will be specialty
still,
jobs that you have to fly out and hire out from other places to
yeah,
come and work in Imperial Valley.
and 60% is a lot.
60%
So,
is a lot. I'll give you a prime example. The Forever Green Farm Development is guaranteeing 60% of all benefits, all produce, all finances be given back to the community, over 60% local hire. So the opportunity or the objective is to give as many people from Imperial Valley equitable employment long term. The way that the development is being done right now is a afterthought of Imperial Valley, where they will employ the unions in both here in San Diego, and they will employ all the people they have to fly in for specialty service, but not really anything will be left over for the average resident from Imperial County. Can I touch on one more thing?
yeah.
You made a comment earlier about the IVC program. They are training for a plant
Mm.
operator positions. That's what they have available right now. They graduate about 60 people per year. They've been doing it 2 years. The problem with the plant operator position is there's only a plan to be one or two plants. That's one or two positions for 120 people a year. What do
Wow.
you do with all of these workers that's being trained for somewhere? There's nowhere to work in Imperial County.
Yeah. I have a friend that is taking that course, and I think she already graduated, and they've graduated a couple classes.
Yes.
And they're like, yeah, I mean, you go in with the promise that you're gonna get a job, but that the developments are not even haven't even like breaking ground yet. So for these people that are graduating now, they're not even gonna have the job opportunity until I don't know how many years after now, because that's still in it hasn't even been agreed on. So it's gonna take years for that to be built,
Oh,
for that to start producing job opportunities, and they continue graduating people, hundreds of people,
you're
on those
correct.
trainings.
You're absolutely correct. The training at IVC is unrealized job opportunity. For one, the training that you're getting is only good for job experience. It's not a certification. So it doesn't automatically qualify you for a high paying or high wage job somewhere else. The second portion of it is that, as you said, there's nowhere for all of these people to work. So while you're getting this specialized training opportunity, there's nowhere to deploy it or to use it in Imperial County. And then the third thing that made me surprised when I talked to the students is that I always believed that the plant operator class was free, and that's not the case. Once you
Mm.
graduate, you still have to pay for being enrolled inside of that class. And I don't think the workers that are enrolling really understand that it's going to be a financial cost on the back end for something that they're not going to be able to get paid for years down the line.
Wow, wow, that's crazy. Um, is there something else that you want to talk about in relation to the workforce development? Anything else that you want to hit on? We already talked about the numbers that they're promising. Are sound nice, but are really not going to benefit the community.
Workforce development goes deeper than the lithium development. Workforce development in Imperial County has been a hot button issue. It will continue to be the most pressing issue because unemployment in Imperial Valley is currently around 23%. That is the highest in all of California. So whatever workforce development efforts that have been done to now is obviously not working. It's obviously not meeting the common person where you need them at. It's not educating on the level that needs it the most to be able to make the largest impact inside of the workforce. So I don't know how much credit I can give to the efforts that's been done now. I know that we are making more grassroots efforts to be as inviting as barrier list to as many people as possible to make sure that we can help as many families as possible. It makes no sense to have the highest resources in a place, but also the highest poverty. There's something wrong with the ratio there.
Isn't it crazy that talking about unemployment, that the Imperial Valley has the highest rates on unemployment, but the Calexico Walmart has is one of the highest grossing Walmarts in the entire United States. The Imperial Valley also produces vegetables for the entire United States, and now we're going to have lithium for the entire United States. So we have so much rights to water, the Colorado River water, because it was grandfathered in. And this is another example of companies coming and being grandfathered in. So we need to make sure that when they come, they promise that they will continue to be in an agreement with the community to benefit them as they continue to take the resources without it just being, we promise you jobs. And they're going to be hard working jobs to continue to make us millions and billions every year. What do you think about that?
You speak to the larger issue in Imperial County is we produce so many things here, but all the things that we produce that has value we send to other places. You mentioned our water allocation. We get more Colorado River water than anywhere else in California. But anything that we don't use automatically goes to outside companies. It's the same thing with solar electricity. We live in this hot climate and it generates so much solar electricity, but they tell us it's too hot to use any of that electricity in Imperial County. So instead, we sell it to San Diego and Los Angeles. It's the same with produce. It will be the same with lithium production. And now they're trying to do it with the education of our children. They want us to educate them here, but not employ them here. So all of the benefit, all of the knowledge that will be produced from this area will never benefit the people that need it most. That's the
They
trend
have
that we
to
have to break.
outsource and go find job opportunities somewhere else and leave because the opportunities are not here. That happens so much, so often. I want to know, what are some of these agreements that you know have been done in the past?
Traditionally, when they're doing developments like solar installation or geothermal, they will require that a developer do one thing for one school one time as a community benefit agreement. So if I'm a lithium developer and I want to move into your neighborhood, it's sufficient for me to go buy the students their backpacks and call that my contribution to your community long term.
Wow.
Even though I'm now going to kick up dust and raise your respiratory rate, I'm going to break up your foundation and ruin your sewer infrastructure. And I'm going to cause long-term effects on the mental health, the physical health of everybody in the surrounding area. And all I can think to do is buy you a backpack. Take Calipatra, for example. This is not our first development with a large corporation. As some know, we do have a local prison there. And when they were doing this development about 30 years ago, they, like any other industry, came and they made all of these specialized promises to the community about education, about pathways to employment, but none of those things were put in writing or in contract form. So when the development was built and there was not necessary to have community's input or community support, a lot of those promises were forgotten. If you're on the left or the right side of this issue, whether or not a person is telling you the truth is always going to be based on their budget. Someone's tell you something, you want to know if they're telling you the truth or not, look at their budget. If the budget doesn't say that the county's investing in education, if it doesn't say that the county's heavily invested in workforce development, then that's not a priority for Imperial County.
What are the reasons that we have the highest unemployment rates with the highest resources?
The first thing I'll always point to in a situation like this is the leadership. You have to make policies that are designed to produce for the people that need the most. And you haven't really seen that in Imperial County, California. Most of the policies are made to cater to the farm owner, not the farm worker, to cater to the executive, but not the people that make the business run from day to day. That has been the problem largely. If there is a surplus of anything significant or anything that could earn money, that surplus is probably going to go to someone that already has resources instead of to a community that's struggling for every dime that they need to come across. Everything has been done this way in Imperial County for the past 50 to 100 years. The residents will say it's always been done this way, but without realizing that just because something has always been done a certain way, it doesn't make it right. And it doesn't mean that that's the only way to achieve a goal. When you hear everyone out in the street chanting against data centers or the creation of Lithium Valley, it's not the place in particular, it's not the development, it's why this development? Why are we only always thinking of things that are going to harm our environment? Why are we always only thinking of things that's going to put excess pressure on the residents to pay higher water bills, higher light bills? And those are not even the developments that the residents are asking for. So those are the things that we petition for, that we ask for community benefits agreements to get some of the specifics.
Yeah. You know what? My brain went back to the farm workers and the farmers and the county. So when I think about that, I'm like, we're in 2026.
Yes.
And things have advanced so much, like things have changed so much, but the jobs for farm workers, the conditions, like I don't understand how the farmers continue to make billions of dollars for that. And, you know, they're over here with their land, their helicopters, like all their stuff. Um, and the farm workers don't even have like shade or
Yeah.
like a restroom, like an actual break area. Like they don't even have like protections, especially with the transition of like the extreme heat weather conditions. Like, why hasn't that advanced? Like the protections for them, they haven't really advanced. The pay is always the minimum. It hasn't been any growth in the difference of how much that industry grew and how much the workers didn't. So I see that like re-happening with new industries. With the solar, people were promised jobs, jobs, jobs. Then that was built and the jobs were done. And then families had to move from here to Phoenix, to Texas, to Iowa, to I don't know where to continue to find those job opportunities.
Yes.
With lithium, it might be something similar. We don't know, but we're in a position right now where we can submit a comment to the county to say, hey, if this industry is going to come, we want to grow with them. So coming together to like a benefits agreement where the community benefits as the industries use our resources. Like, let's not let them just use our resources that the Imperial Valley is very rich on. Let's protect this, because now I'm learning that every industry that has come had to have a benefits agreement with the community. William, what does an equitable community benefits agreement look like?
First, an equitable agreement should always have long-term consideration. What does this agreement we make today look like 50 years from now? An equitable community benefits agreement will have built-in job training. It will have a environmental justice fund that's set in place previous to the development being built for environmental research around the development after the development is built. It will have um, guaranteed protections and equitable wages or standard wages for workers that's entering into this field, not a lot of these entry low wages that they usually do in disinvested community. What we have right now that is being considered as a community benefits agreement has a lot of very vague language, but no specifics. I always talk about the Imperial Valley specific plan having no specifics. What does it look like to have equitable jobs in Imperial County? How many jobs? How many jobs are going to the actual resident as opposed to the union worker? If you say that we're going to get a tax based on lithium development, what is that tax going to be used for? It's not good enough to just say that we're going to give a percentage to a city and you guys figure out how to fix your sewer infrastructure. And then, as we all know, that the way distribution of anything is done in Imperial County is based on population. So the largest populations get the most amount of resources and the smaller populations get virtually nothing. We've been living with that virtually nothing. And it's expected that we will continue to live with that nothing for the next 50 years.
Yeah. The way that I see it, and you made me kind of understand this concept the other day, is basically the Imperial Valley is a house, and and the landlords are, you know, investing and fixing whatever they want to fix here and there. But then the next investor comes and invests, you know, and fixes whatever they want to fix, the roads, and they do get better, but it's not just about the land and fixing a couple things. It's about the people. Like, there's people that live in this land, and it belongs to the people. And the people should also have the opportunity to, you know, grow and develop as the land grows and develops.
That's the best analogy I can come up with. currently development in Imperial Valley has been done by like flipping houses. A developer will come here and decide that they can fix one or two things for a benefit, and they do that, but it doesn't say how that's going to affect the community long term. And it doesn't dictate whether or not a developer could then sell that to somebody else who doesn't share your interest. And there's no guardrails put inside the contracts that the county gives out to make sure that that doesn't happen. For example, who's to stop CTR from selling this development after they make it to a company from Asia who doesn't hold any of our values, who hasn't sat through any of the community meetings or any of the concerns, and who hasn't been vetted properly? What if they don't share any of the values that will do environmental protection in Imperial County, but they're allowed to freely sell this development in Imperial County that's going to harm all of us without any consideration? We were talking about planning commission and the planning commission in Imperial County and how they have all of this authority but no specialized skill set. Traditionally, they have been approving plans in Imperial County that helps their friends, that helps the Board of Supervisor friends, the average farm owner, the average industry owner. We see a lot of our elected officials working with the industry against the residents instead of working with the residents to oppose the industry. And that's the thing that keep us held back more than anything, in my opinion.
How do you feel talking about the Board of Supervisors? There was an announcement that I'm not really understanding right what happened, but there's not going to be like signs allowed in the rooms, or if you get like a little rowdy, like, no, I don't like that, they're going to kick you out, or what's that?
Thank you for bringing that up. We live in America. In America, you have a First Amendment right of free speech. The protesting, whether peaceful or non-peaceful, is protected under free speech. The right to have a political sign or a sign that says just about anything in a public place like the Board of Supervisor chamber is protected under free speech. So it feels really illegal for the board to now say that a resident is not allowed to bring in a sign that may voice a point that they can't say with their voice out loud.
Wow.
That's the first thing. The second is the county have all of these new rules inside of their chambers while ignoring all of the things that were designed to protect the citizen. We have this PEIR comment section coming up, and usually when you have a big development like this that has so much controversy around it,
Yes,
residents will get to come out to the Board of Supervisors meetings and voice their concerns and hopefully get some answers. This section, the county has decided to not let anybody speak about their concerns about the lithium development in person, and they're requiring people to send in their requests by emails or by mail while ignoring that 80% of the population from Imperial County are traditionally Spanish speakers. Where's the Spanish instruction for any of this?
Let me jump in there. So basically, they are, in simple terms, they are silencing this project as much as possible. They saw what happened with the data centers. They saw that the community with this, just the one data center in Imperial, people came together, people got rowdy, they showed up, their signs, and that gets more people want to be, like, they want to get informed and see what's happening. So they saw that, and after that, it was like, nope, we're not going to accept any of that for this development. So if you do have a comment and you want to say something, it has to be either through email or through mail. So on top of that, if you don't put on the subject line LVSP 2025, it won't be valid. So they're really making it difficult. I was talking to my mom about this, and she was like, that's terrible, because people my age, talking about herself, don't even know how to send a WhatsApp. You think I'm gonna learn how to send an email? Like, it's just, especially like on the Latino community, like you were mentioning, like they don't do emails. I didn't do emails. Like,
We live in a largely farm worker community, and they have not been exposed to any of these systems to know how to protect themselves. What's more than that is I'm asking all the residents to ask themselves, why would your Board of Supervisors be doing this? Why does any government seek to silence their people? Why does any government lack transparency? It's always in an effort to control you or to mislead you. If that's what's happening right here in Imperial County, then the residents need to speak up. They need to be made aware. They need to be given a platform to voice their concerns. whatever happens in Imperial County, us as residents are going to have to deal with it. We're going to have to be the ones to survive it and to respond to any emergencies that come along with all of these developments. So why our representatives only think about the money, we're left to think about the long-term effects.
What do you think about the new county CEO assistant?
I believe that it's definitely a need for new leadership in Imperial County. With that being said, the absorbent amounts of money that the leadership gets paid makes no sense for such a small disinvested region. The average family the average 4-person family is expected to live off about $54,000 a year in Imperial County. All of our elected officials make over $200,000 a year.
Let me just say something, because I did a little bit of research on that. So they're getting paid what someone in LA or what are those expensive places?
Palm Springs, San Diego, Florida,
Like
New York City.
The Imperial Valley's little tiny population. The people in power are getting paid like if they were controlling LA or San Diego. Just to do a small comparison there.
That is actually a great example. In these larger cities, it takes a larger capacity, a lot more work, a lot more time, allegedly, to deal with the issues that we deal with here in Imperial County. My concern is while we're paying our representatives this large amount of money, we're not getting a large amount of impact. If you are being paid over $200,000 a year, I should see the effort that you're putting inside the job that you've had. And we haven't had that in Imperial County. We're not in a situation where we have all new elected officials and we don't know what they bring to the table.
I would say, especially in your area in the North End, because that's the most disinvested communities, and you've had the same leadership for the last 15 years. So what has that brought, or what has that changed in your community? And I say that, ask yourself too, like, I'm from Calexico, and Calexico looks worse than when I was a kid. I'm sure people from El Centro are going to say, well, when I was a kid, it looked like this. Now I've seen some growth, because in El Centro, I do see a lot of growth. But in Calipatria and Island, Imperial has been growing super fast. But how was that for you in Calipat?
Well, first, I want everybody to remember that beautification doesn't equal growth. Sometimes beautification just cover up long-standing problems inside of a community. Right now, outside of the beautification, none of our underlying issues are being taken care of. The last time we were here, we discussed all of the larger impact issues that we're having at the North End. The respiratory disease rate being above 30%, while the rest of California is below 4%. Unemployment being above 20%, while the rest of California is below 6%. This goes on with education, infrastructure, and anything else that you can possibly think of. So when you're considering a place like California, like Calipatra, if we don't get a new infrastructure that will fix the sewer system, we won't have a city. You want to bring 2,000 more workers into this area and let them put pressure on the same broken sewer infrastructure. What happens to the city without that sewer? In my opinion, that is the perfect makeup to turn the city of Calipat into an industrial smokestack. You don't need a lot of sewer resources if you're just going to do manufacturing and you plan on moving all of the residents out. But if you actually plan on maintaining that community, then you're going to have to invest in education. You're going to have to invest in infrastructure in order for us to grow along with lithium instead of being trampled by the lithium development.
So in the future, that could look like kicking everybody out of there and just making factories.
In the future, anywhere where you put more investment into a industry instead of an infrastructure, it doesn't lend itself to health for a community, for services for a community. Those are specialized considerations. That's why we're so heavy on the need for community benefits agreements. Those things give you special protections, and it lets the community members dictate how and why a development should be made in their community and what kind of response they need to be able to protect themselves long term. I look at cities like Whitehead, New York, who made a community benefit agreement around solar installation, and they were able to secure protections around their water rights, their future education, even their attorney fees, where anything in the development was concerned. I would like to see a community benefits agreement that have those specifications for the north end in consideration. So it's not a cookie cutter model, and no industry can come here and say, well, I bought you a nice thing, or I gave you a solar bus, or I bought you some backpacks, so we should be even for the next 100 years. That's not fair, and it's not sustainable long term.
Yeah. And that's happened in the past, and we don't want that to happen again. So please, people, submit your comment. I can't stress this enough. We need to come together. The community needs to be aware of what's happening. Please help share this video. I'm going to have a link below to submit your public comment, and feel free to request whatever you want. For me, I'm thinking respiratory issues. If we're in negotiations, I feel like the industry should support with mitigation against that. With the whole Imperial Valley doesn't even have one respiratory specialist, and we have the highest asthma rates. Like, that just doesn't add up. So requesting those protections, like, must bring, specialists to the valley, or air purifiers for people's homes, because the air outside is going to be so bad. So then let's fix their air filtration inside at home at least. Those things could be negotiated. And please, like I said, the link is going to be below. Scan the QR code below, submit your comment, and support your community, protect your community. William, anything else you would like to say?
I would like to second everything that you said today, Ashley, and thank you for inviting me on the In Simple Term podcast. It is absolutely imperative for our residents to be able to understand what all of these big words mean when you hear them inside a board of supervisor meetings, and nobody's taking the time to explain it to them. So thank you and your platform for that. And I just like to reiterate, please make your comments. This is the desperation time. This is speak now or forever hold your peace. You're going to only get this opportunity to make comments about developments that will affect how we build things in Imperial County for the next 50 or 100 years. You have about 30 days to make a comment. The comment period ends March 2nd. So please use the QR code or the link that's available underneath this video, or feel free to come to the Becoming Project at any time. We will help anyone submit public comments or give you any explanation that you don't understand. Thank you. Stick together out there.
Thank you for watching.
Imperial Valley, stay informed
In simple terms.